Hello, everybody. Welcome to Late Night Football. Welcome to our match reaction show. We're back with the background, back with the regular familiar surroundings. I mean, yesterday was a bit of a different day, but nonetheless, it's finished. Mallorca 1, Real Madrid nil. And I mean, this game, it's not necessarily decisive. I don't think it is decisive yet in terms of the destination of the title, but I think it's definitely indicative of where the title might go because these are the sort of games that, if you're a champion team, if you're going to win the league, you kind of just find a way to win or at least get a point out of. And I think today, Madrid just wasn't their day. I mean, and nothing went right for them. And you have to say, yes, they were beset by injuries. There's lots of key players that are injured. The conditions probably didn't suit them as much in the first half as well, maybe. But Mallorca, at the end of the day, you got to give them credit. They played a wonderful game. They exceeded their tactics to perfection. And whatever you might say about the concept of beautiful football, the fact is that they played really well. And you can't judge them for that. I thought it was a fantastic game. That first goal, though, in fact, the only goal of the game, I keep saying first goal, I don't know why, but the only goal of the game, it actually came because Daniel Rodriguez puts in a good cross. He has so much time to pick out a cross. Basically, the defense almost seems non-existent on that one. And again, Muriqi made a nuisance of himself. They thought he had scored. It was an own goal from Nacho, but they all count at the end of the day. And it goes in and it's 1-0. I don't think the goalkeeper could have done much about that. I think he just wasn't expecting it to loop and go as it did because that just happens. But at the end of the day, it was a goal and it's 1-0. And now it's up to Real Madrid to respond. And it just never looked like they were going to respond. Nothing looked like it came off in that first half. But then just looked lost for ideas. And I thought defensively, Mallorca was set up perfectly in the first half. Every time Real Madrid had the ball in dangerous areas, it was always 4 or 5 Mallorca players around them. It was wonderful defensive football that Mallorca were playing, tactically sound, and they made sure they stayed compact, they made sure they stayed organized, they made sure that no matter what happened, they were not going to let Madrid have it easier. They're not going to let Madrid get past them. And then that second half comes, and I think conditions kind of got a little bit in Madrid's favor, a little bit. They started to play better. It happens, there was a bit more intensity in the play. There was a little bit more bite in there. And then they get the penalty. I thought it was a clear penalty. I think Vinicius did the right thing, just was wonderfully well there. It was a bit of pace and gets the ball. And make sure that he gets the ball away. And when you touch the ball, the keeper pulls it out. It's a penalty. So that was a penalty that Rajkovic, I think, would be disappointed to have conceded. But then he makes up for it by saving it. I don't know. So here's the thing: Asensio and Rodrygo were fighting over it. Now this is where you need someone like a Benzema probably or a Modric or someone to be like the experienced person going in there. And I'll talk about the experience in a bit as well. But you need somebody to go, no, you need to be decisive. When you've got two people fighting over it, immediately that puts both people under pressure because someone's going to be the one to take it. That person is now has taken on that responsibility, with the other person going, well, I should have been the one to take it. And if you don't score, you kind of look a bit silly. That was one thing. I thought Asensio looked very nervous when he took it. That run, I just got to say that run up is so silly. I don't know why people have this. I know Bruno did it yesterday as well for United. That stuttering run up is always a dangerous one because if you miss it, you look like a prat. And B, you're just giving yourself more time to think, and you're giving the goalkeeper more of a time to kind of think where you go. If the goalkeeper doesn't respond to the way you want, because it's really a mind games thing, isn't it? And the goalkeeper doesn't respond the way you want them to respond, you kind of left with no options, and you kind of just get stuck in this corner where you've got to do what comes naturally. I think it happened with Asensio as well. I mean, his natural side was going to be that right hand side. That was his natural side that he was going to go to. What he was banking on was hopefully the goalkeeper kind of makes a move early so he can then pick his corner. That didn't happen, so he's just waiting. And when he takes it, he's got no option. He's got to pick his natural side, which Rajkovic gets and got it right. So he never looked confident taking that penalty. I don't know why he stepped up to take that penalty because sometimes there are run-ups where you kind of go, yeah, this person's scoring, and then there are run-ups where you go, this person's not scoring. And most of the times you get that way. And I'm looking at his run-up, I just went, this guy's not scoring. He's not scoring. The way you could see the body language, everything else, he's not scoring. And that was as good as God. Once that penalty doesn't go in, you get a penalty. In such a tough game, in such a tight game, you stand to kind of find an opening, you get a penalty, and you miss it, you kind of know it's not going to be your day. And Mallorca, I mean, they got to say it was the last 30 minutes. They were doing the dark arts, the shithousery, as they call it. That was peak level. I mean, just watch that game again, this last 30 minutes. I mean, the players were rolling around on the floor. Every injury was an ACL tear, a hamstring strain. I mean, they're all just sitting on the clutching their ankles, their knees, whatever, banging. It was unbelievable. Watch that game again. If you like that sort of thing, and sometimes it's fun. If it's not your team, sometimes it's fun to watch it. And Madrid are not really my team. So it's fun to watch it. But if you haven't seen you, I can understand how frustrating it is. But the fact is that that's what they were doing. It's rolling around on the floor. I mean, I lost count how many yellow cards must have been given. Definitely more than 10 overall in the game. The number of yellow cards is kept coming out. And again, that is another form of shithousery as well. Nobody got a red card. So many players got yellow cards. Nobody got a red card because they knew the art of rotational fouling. They knew who was the one to foul, and they made sure that nobody got sent off. I mean, it's just incredible to watch in a sense that game, and that's where Madrid fell short. They they missed a penalty. They couldn't deal with the dark arts, and they lost. And we talk about dealing with dark arts. I got to mention Vinicius Junior here. Phenomenal player, he's a wonderful player, and I think this is an experience that he's going to have to learn from, because right from the minute one, I think they targeted him. They were like, this guy has a bit of a temperament. Let's target him. Let's frustrate him. Let's not let him get on the ball much. Let's not let him play his game. And he fell for it. He fell for hook, line, and sinker. You could see it. There were so many times he was getting frustrated. The number of times he was just laughing out loud, just being. You could see the way that he was just. His mind was not on the football. His mind had completely been taken over by everything that was happening. His frustration was evident. And sometimes you have these games and you have to learn from that. You've got to learn not to let the frustration get to you. And even if it gets to you, sometimes you got to try and hide it. That you're not frustrated. You're just fine. You're just carrying on with the game. And I just don't know. It was a bad game from him. And the reason for that was because he let that frustration get him. I can understand it. I can sympathize with it, of course. But these games will come. These things will happen. You've got to find a way through it. But he's young. Hopefully, he will learn from it and he will get be better for that experience. Because sometimes things don't always go your way, and sometimes you have to fight for it, and you have to fight yourself for it as well. To make things happen for yourself. And I think that's something that Vinicius will have to learn and get better at. With regards to I was actually surprised with the team selection. I've got to say that, because again, I think Ancelotti got it wrong in that midfield. Ceballos, Valverde, and Tchouameni is not a midfield that would have worked in this game. I think they needed Modric in there. When Modric and Kroos came on, they suddenly had more control of midfield. I don't think you could start both of them in this game, but certainly one of them, and I think Modric should have been the one to start the game. Just because you needed somebody to unlock that defense. Particularly, I think they would have known that they were going to play against a deep line, a deep block. You need someone in there who's going to try to price that up. And I don't think Ceballos is at that level yet. And I think Valverde, for me, I mean, he was probably the. I mean, if Asensio could claim it because he missed that penalty, but I thought he was one of the worst players on the pitch today. Valverde, nothing was coming off. He was taking speculative shots from distance. I mean, some of his passing was atrocious as well. He just didn't look on it. And this has been a thing that has been going on. I really thought Valverde was one of the futures of Real Madrid's midfield, but his form since the World Cup has been very, really poor. I don't know if it's a hangover from Uruguay getting eliminated early. I don't know what it is, but he's not the player that he was pre-World Cup. He's just completely gone off the boil. He doesn't look the same. It's really, really worrying. It is a worry for Madrid. It's going to be, of course, they've now got sort of a week off as such, because they're going to go and play in the Club World Cup, and I think they need that. They need the time off from La Liga. They need to go abroad, just play in a different competition, just have a couple of games there where they can kind of see things through, so to speak. Hopefully they'll win that, but I think that's come at a perfect time for them. Because they've got to play Barcelona after that. They've got to play Liverpool. I think Liverpool, where they are at the moment, that would be an interesting game as well to see how they approach it. But definitely that cup semi-final against Barcelona is critical for them, and they'll want to win that. So it will be a welcome break as such, a welcome distraction as such for them. But they have a few things that they need to sort out, because they missed Benzema today. They missed I know he was playing, but Modric and Kroos, they missed them in that first half as well. So there are things that they need to address, and hopefully they will. I mean, Mariano had a couple of chances at the end. I wouldn't be too harsh on Mariano. People saying he had 2 chances, he missed it. They were difficult chances. It's not like they were tap-ins or something like that. They were difficult chances. So give past that. But nonetheless, congratulations to Mallorca. I thought they played as well as they could have played. They played really well. Let's be honest. Yeah, they played really well. They did everything that they were supposed to do. And Madrid just weren't at it. And you have these games. Sometimes you have these sort of games where you just, nothing you do works. Everything, you try everything. You try to make everything happen. And it just doesn't happen for you. It was one of those games. It's sad that it's happened now, because Madrid really can't afford to be dropping points if they want to challenge for the title. But such is life. It happens. Maybe they'll be happy that it's not happening in a knockout game and it's happening in a league game, perhaps. Anyway, let me know what you think of the game. Of course, share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Do remember to subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So we're getting close to 100 followers on Facebook. So please help us reach that landmark. Links in the description below. Take care. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.